Greetings everyone and welcome back. In the previous video we brought in our auto discoverable components here, and in this video we are going to bring in our Vuetify, or we're going to install the Vuetify plugin that we're going to use for our interfaces. So let's just go ahead and start bringing in the Vuetify plugin. And for us to be able to bring in the Vuetify, we're just going to use the installation command from Vuetify itself, and we're just going to have the npm install Vuetify, and that should bring in the Vuetify plugin into our project. All right, and that has installed the Vuetify. So if we were to go to our packages here, as you can see here, we already have the Vuetify being installed here. All right, so the next thing that we can do is to go ahead and configure our Vuetify plugin inside the Vut configuration file here. All right, as you can see here, we do not have the Vuetify, so let's just go ahead and configure that. And the way to do that is just to bring in the Vuetify plugin. All right, so let's just go ahead and import our Vuetify, and here I'm just going to go ahead and bring in the Vuetify, and I'm bringing also this composable here to load our images. All right, so after that, what we need is to register this Vuetify into our plugins here. So let's just go ahead and register that Vuetify like that. The auto import is by default true, and then here what we are doing here, we are loading our source file. So this is the style file that we'll create in the future to load our styles. All right, so in having done that, it means that we've imported the Vuetify. But one thing though, we do not have this plugin here. So what we are supposed to do is, first of all, to install this plugin here so that we can get the Vuetify from this plugin. All right, so let's just go ahead and install that plugin. So what I'm going to do here is npm install, and then I'm just going to paste that plugin there like that, and that should install the plugin. And then after that, we should be able to use that plugin to bring in the Vuetify. As you can see, now we have it already, and we can use it now to bring in the Vuetify. All right, so the next thing that we would want to do is to register the Vuetify itself as a plugin. And for us to do that, we have a couple things that we need to do. One of the things that we would want to do is to have a plugin folder inside our SRC folder here. So here, what I'm going to do here inside the SRC folder, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll call this folder plugins like that. And then after creating these plugins folder, I'm going to create an index here. I'm going to call this JS. I'm going to have that as index.js, and then I'm going to have another file. I'll call this Vuetify and this Vuetify.js is where we're going to have our Vuetify being exported from. Right, so inside the Vuetify.js here, I'm just going to have that, and now I'm just going to create an instance of Vuetify here, and I'm going to use that Vuetify inside the index here. All right, so inside the index, what I can do, I'm going to create a function that's going to register the Vuetify plugin, and I'm going to expose that function into the main.js here, which is the main entry point of our application. All right, so what I can do here inside the index.js, I'm going to so here we do not have the type. This for that one would be for when we are using TypeScript, but we're not using TypeScript, so we can just go ahead and have it without types like that. All right, so and what's happening here is that we are having, so we can just go ahead and recreate this up here as a variable. So we can just go ahead and have it like that, so that we go now to use or we don't even need this because we're going to pass in this one when we are using this function. All right, like that. So it means whenever we want to use this function here, we're going to pass in the app instance from view, and then we're going to append the Vuetify instance there. And now we can just go ahead and choose that because we are importing it from the Vuetify.js here. All right, so another thing we can do here, we can just go ahead and import the other plugins that we might need to use. For example, instead of having to import the router every time from the main.js here, as you can see, we're importing the a router from here, and we're also importing the pinia from here. What we can do, instead of doing this, we can just go ahead and import these ones from we can just go ahead and import these ones from the configuration file. So I'm just going to copy this, and this one also, like that, and I'm going to register these inside the file that we just created. So let's just go ahead inside our plugins here, and one thing I'm going to have is the create pinia here, and then we're going to also have this. So use this one here, and then we're going also to have the router. Okay, so here we're going to have .use router like that. All right, and then what we can do, because the router it's outside, then we can just go ahead and have this one as we're going to step outside our plugin folder, and then we're going to go to router like that, and then the pinia is just going to be coming from pinia itself here. All right, so, and that's how we can just use these function here. Now we're going to use this function here inside our main file here, or main.js file here, to register the plugins that we have already here. So let's just go ahead into our main JS file here, and now we can do away with this registration from here because we do not have them anymore, and we are not going to be using these styles from the view itself. So I'm just going to comment that out. You can just go ahead and remove it all because we never use it anyway. So, and what we can do here is now to use our function that we created, and we can expose that function here inside our main file or main.js file. And now we can just go ahead and use that function to create the instances, or to bring in the plugins that we had already instantiated from the other file. And now we are passing the app, which is the view app. We are passing that to the plugins function here, and that should be able to bring in the plugins that we have. All right, so, and having that, it means that our Vuetify is installed successfully. One thing I would want to do though is to install the MDI font icons. So let me just go here, and I want to install npm install, and I want to install the MDI font icons so I can be able to use them inside the project. All right, and that is installed successfully, and now I want to import that and use that when I am creating my Vuetify instance. And remember, we created our Vuetify instance here, and here is where I want to bring in the MDI font icons like that. All right, so that's going to enable me to use the material icons inside my application. So let's go ahead and see if we still have our project running. And as you can see, our project is still running, but now we have this CSS issue here because we removed the main CSS from the project, the CSS that had come with Vue when we installed Vue, and now we do not have it, and that's why we have this kind of CSS issues here. So what we can do is go ahead and try to test if we have Vuetify installed successfully in our project, and we can do that by going into the layout default, and here we're just going to try to use one of the we're going to try and use one of the Vuetify's components. So let's just go ahead and try that and see if it's going to be showing what we have already. So let's try to have a button here. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to have V button and see if it's going to be actually coming in. So here is the Vuetify button, and let me just go ahead and say Vuetify button like that. So I'm going to save that, go back to the browser here, and for some reasons it does not seem to have worked. So let's just go ahead and figure out figure it out what's the problem could be. And here it seems we have a problem. As you can see here, we do not have a preprocessor for SAS. And what we can do, let's just go ahead and install these SAS preprocessor. And let's just go back here. I'll bring in the console and I'll try to install that preprocessor for our SAS files. And that should fix the issue that we have for now. Let's just go back here. So it's not installed. Try to run that. And now we have another issue here. Can't find style sheet to import. And remember, this is what we said we'll have for styling. And for now, we do not have this file. So what we can do, we can just go ahead and create this. So inside our project here and inside the assets, let's just go ahead and try to create that. So inside our assets, we're going to have another folder here called styles. And then inside styles, we're going to have Vuetify. So it's another folder, Vuetify. And inside Vuetify now, we're going to have the settings dot so settings dot scss, like that. All right, and let's just try to run the npm run dev and see if that fixes the issue. Now let's just go back here and try to reload the application. And as you can see now, we have successfully installed Vuetify, and this button tells you that we already have Vuetify installed successfully into our application. So thank you very much for joining me on this course. When we come back, we are going to now continue from here, and we are going to start by restructuring our application, whereby we'll have the nav bar on its component, sidebar on its component. We're going to have the footer on its component, and then we're going to import all those together into our project. And from there, now we're going to have our full project structure. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.